What's up, party people? Welcome back to another video here. We're going to be talking about Holy Paladin Melee Edition. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a guide on the Melee version of Holy Paladin because that's the only version that I will ever play. So there are definitely, just quickly, there are other ways to play Paladin. You do not have to play like this. Certainly don't have to play like this. And I want to make a guide specifically on this because everything is different. The stats, the gameplay, the talents, everything is different, okay? So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the gear, the builds, the how you do the dam and the heal, and a quick little gameplay commentary over a game that I played yesterday. All right, so let's get into it here. So first, we're gonna first and foremost start off with the gearing. Okay, the gearing here, for the most part, you're going to be going full haste verse. Haste verse, I'm playing a little bit of crit in there, but mostly haste verse. Okay, so currently I'm at haste verse helm, crit on the well, I'll tell you the pieces out of crit. How about that? Crit on the neck, crit on the back piece. Nothing. Haste crit on the finger here, or the one ring. That's a crafted ring. I have and crit on the gloves. Once I add the tier set in, so with the tier set, you're gonna be running everything but the helm, and I'm gonna be adding in a lot more crit here with the leggings. Okay, so leggings here, we're gonna get even more crit, another 980. So gonna be nice. So overall on stats, I'm probably gonna be punching. This is what I right now PvP. I'm at 1772 crit, 2631. Look at that. Why does it have two swords? That's kind of cool. Yeah, wait, why do I have two swords? All right, sick. But yeah. So mostly haste, but with a little bit of crit. The reason why you still want to have a little bit of crit, and not go full all out haste, is because of infusion of light. So this is like kind of the main idea of how Holy Paladin works. When you crit on your holy shocks, reduces the mana cost of your next flash heal, or holy light increased, or judgment becomes like a kind of a heal in a way, an anti-damage, or which ends up being a heal. And the reason you are playing haste in this is because everything that revolves around melee Holy Paladin is scales with haste. Okay, so if you didn't know this, I feel like a lot of people don't know this. That just got to be a reason why they don't put this out there more. But any ability in your spell book that has green cooldown means that it's affected by haste. Okay, so for Paladin, for example, here you have Crusader Strike that's affected by haste, Hammer of Wrath that's affected by haste, Judgment's affected by haste, and Holy Shock's affected by haste. All of those cooldowns are affected by haste. So the more haste you have, the shorter the cooldown, the faster you can just kind of snowball all these abilities in. Because then also, if you combine that with some of the talents, like such as Crusader's Might, you're getting cooldown reduction every time you press one of these buttons in. Everything is just snowballing on itself. I think there's another Holy Shock reduction one in here somewhere as well. But anyway, yeah, so crazy reduction and just speed of just abilities you're pressing is crazy. Yeah. All right, so that is just on the gearing and stuff, or for the, I guess, the general gear. For the embellishments, you want double, whatchamacallit, called, geez, energy redistribution device. The energy redistribution device. Okay, that's what you want to be running because it does big. I don't even have the stuff. Everything. I've been healing myself here this whole time. It does a lot for Holy Paladin, especially the melee version. I don't know why. I think it's because you have a lot of single target healing versus like a druid, for example, which is that you get virtually no benefit from. So double energy redistribution. And then for the weapon enchant, I highly recommend getting Fiery Resolve. It's a bit expensive, but it does very good healing for Holy Paladin. And every time it procs, it gives you quite a lot of main stat. So just great uptime on it. So I would highly recommend running that as well. I think that's about it. The enchants, I mean, enchants are kind of the same for everybody, every class. Speed on the cloak. You have Council's Intellect on the chest, speed on the bracers, haste. I have haste on the rings. Any of the movement speed ones on your boots, the normal foot or sorry, leg mana one, I should probably pick that up. Even if it's a green one, you should probably get a cheat, like a lower rank one. But yeah, that's about it on that stuff. All right, let's get into the builds here. And so builds here, I kind of mess around with two builds specifically, but there's only like a niche scenario where I'm using the second build, but this is just the general gist of it all. So on the Spectra or this class side, this is basically the same as you will play on as like a regular Holy Paladin build. The only thing maybe I have is actually probably have like punishment here. I have a little bit extra judgment damage, so people don't play that. But I'm playing make sure things that you make sure you do want to have. Obviously, you have your haste and your judgment cooldown there, cooldown reduction, divine toll reduction, because this pairs really well with rising sunlight. Because every time you divine toll, you get two double holy shocks or triple holy shocks, whatever it is, that follow. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, this is just such cookie cutter. There really isn't much diversity in this side. We are playing the, and then on the spec chat, and then I'll go the hero talents afterwards. And then in the spec side here, we are playing everything that is melee based. So this whole build came from Mythic Plus. This is exactly how you play PvE Holy Paladin at the moment. You can play caster way, but it's most people, especially Mythic Plus, are playing this way. So every single melee talent possible here. We got Awakening down here. We got Truth Prevails, Crusader's Might. Still sticking with Efflorescence in Efflorescence. So for the judgments, make sure you have Avenging Crusader, of course. That's gonna give you the whole melee wings thing going on anyway. The one thing that is a little different here, you can definitely play both of these. I was preferring Holy Prism because the healing wasn't that different, and Barrier of Faith really does well when you're holy shocking and casting a lot, because you get that it accumulates that shield with it. But I don't really use any of those spells. I don't even holy shock that much. I do holy shock, but not that much. So I thought I was getting better benefit from just pressing it with Holy Prism, using Holy Prism. But it frankly does not matter. I think they're both, not that big of a deal of a difference. So, and just a reminder of Holy Prism, if you use it on an enemy, it does more damage, but then like a spread AoE heal. But if you want to do maximal healing with it, just use that on the ally, and then it's going to radiate some damage out there. Just some minimal damage to put out there. Okay, and then for the hero talents here, I highly recommend Herald of the Sun. Lightsmith is definitely good with this build still. I found, especially because of this talent here, it gives you more Crusader Strike damage, which will give you more healing. I found that Herald of the Sun's throughput is just better, and just quality of life with everything in here. You get movement speed, you get haste, you get free divine purposes. It's just everything feels good. On here at Lightsmith, only a couple of these talents actually matter. You have your sacred weapons and whatnot, the 1% primary stats, whatever, lay on hands, reduce cooldown, like just stuff just doesn't matter that much on here. Like there's a couple of things that are good here. The fear duration's okay, it's nerfed in PvP. But yeah, it's kind of mid, man. Like you can do, I think if you were just trying to do as much damage as possible, Lightsmith would be better. But like maybe in 2s you want to run this, but I think Herald of the Sun is just far superior in terms of healing throughput. So that's where I'm running on there. And then for the choice nodes, I'm running Morningstar, Illuminate, and Blessing of Anshi. Quick note about playing Herald is take advantage of your Sun's avatar and your Dawn Lights. Okay, so remember that every time you press Holy Prism or Barrier of Faith, whichever one you're running, your next 2 Holy Power spells will apply Dawn Light. You can use this offensively if you're playing Denounce in like 2s, for example, but in 3s, it doesn't work with Shield of Righteousness, by the way. You want to use this on your allies. So after you press that, make sure you are getting those Holy Lights out. Or, sorry, not Holy Lights, Eternal Flames out. And also another note about Eternal Flame, it does not count as a Holy School for whatever reason. So if you get kicked on a Holy Light cast, for example, you can still use Eternal Flame, which is super nice to use. So like for when I was playing like an aggro build in 2s, I just would cast Denounce in their face. If I get kicked, just cast Eternal Flame. As long as you have Holy Power for it. Well, actually, you would have Holy Power because you were going to cast Denounce otherwise. So it's kind of neat to just have that as a backup. All right, and then lastly is the on your wings. So you get this. This is another reason why I like this build I like Herald for this build, because you have a shorter cooldown wings with Avenging Crusader, and every time you do press that, it automatically throws out up to 4 Dawn Lights on nearby allies or enemies, and the duration is increased. And while that is active, there's beams that you're going to see everywhere. If you run those beams through people, either they're just going to do damage or healing. It's quite a lot of healing too. It ends up being like around 8% of your healing, sometimes more if you can it's like a melee group and everyone's just kind of in the same spot. But that is that there. So that is the hero talents. Going into the PvP talents here, not too much to really talk about. These are probably the cookie cutter ones to play in this build. Searing Glare is amazing. It's a little bit of a learning curve to get used to using, but this is so good, man. You can just literally make an immunity for your entire team for 4 seconds. If you can get all 3 of the enemies on there, so everybody's super low, you can use this on all 3 players. They can't execute, they can't do anything, and you can just sit in the back and try to top off, or it'll give you more time if you are in trying to heal. Divine Vision is just, or in the Blessed Hands is more of a mandatory pick as well, especially in this meta, man. You need all those freedoms, you need those bops, so it just gives you 2 of those, which is really, really helpful, especially the bops, because all the melee. And then, so this one here, I am somewhat interchangeable, but most of the time it is just Divine Vision to get that shorter cooldown or mastery. Make sure you are using this in like solo shuffle and stuff. It's, you know, 24% damage reduction. It's not that crazy, but having that for your whole team is just kind of nice to have, and it increases the range of your passive 3% one from Devotion Aura. 3%, right? Yeah. Things I do alternate this with, it would be Denounce, Cleanse of the Weak for against Holy Shadow Priest, but I still don't like using it, to be honest. I don't know, I just not a big fan, to be honest. And then Denounce is cases where you can cast a lot. I don't use as much in 3s and Shuffle, but 2s I would. Some cases in 3s, if you're playing like with casters and you have more time to cast those Denounces, it's not bad. And then the last one would be Hollow Ground, and I'm going to show you Hollow Ground with combined with this other build. Okay, this other build is basically the same thing. I just switched a couple of the points around to go around Consecration. The reason I made this build is because there's so many melee right now that a lot of these games just become shit shows in the middle. Like, I'm sure you've seen that, where it's just everybody's clobbering, banging heads in the middle, and it's like 5 or 6 people just sitting in the middle just clobbering each other. That's where this comes in hand, because Hollow Ground suppresses snare immunities. So like against a Frost Mage, for example, you're able to use these consecrations to help your teammates stay on their target. So you combine that with Strength and Conviction, which gives you 10% more healing or damage, with your either Shield of Righteous, which you don't really use much, but Denounce if you're running that, and Wog, or Eternal Flame, 10%, and then Righteous Judgment, which casts 50% chance to cast a judgment on that target at that location. Okay, so if you judge with the Frost Mage and your teammates are chasing them, it could help with those slows for them to keep up on them. So just keeping those up all the time. The one thing to know about this, do not run this build if your team has cast a CC that could break. Okay, so like a Polymorph or an Incap or Repentance, be careful, you know, don't break your own CC with that. And then one last thing to note about this is this talent is going away in the next patch, so it is what it is right now, but once this is gone, I don't know if I'll really have this build. Well, you don't really need to waste these talents anymore. You're going to be using them elsewhere. But I think this will kind of still have a role if the PvP talents and stuff are all the same. So that is it for those 2 builds. Okay, now let's just get into the gameplay here, and then some commentary. Oh, so much talking here. So let's go into the gameplay. Let me preface this first. Just because you're playing melee Holy Paladin does not mean you need to play in melee range the whole game. Very important, okay? Know when to pull out. This is life advice with markers here. So, for the most part, the general healing playstyle is you have your 2 beacons up. You can have them on 2 different targets, whatever targets you want to put them on that are taking the most damage. And then from there, your general rotation is your Holy Shocking. And then you're, trying to sweep. You don't need to Judgment. If you're playing this build, you're going to Judgment. But like just talk about generally, Holy Shock gives you Holy Power. You spend the Holy Power on Wogs or Eternal Flame if you're playing this. All right. You can alternately, or especially when you have these infusion procs, this little glow, that's going to give you that empowered Holy Light or fast or mana efficient flashlight. If you are running low on mana, you're going to want a Flash of Light, okay? Because it costs virtually no mana. And then if you want a more bigger heal, you can cast Holy Light. All right. So yeah, that's to do with that. Or if you're in the midst of doing damage, you don't need to heal, you can use them on Judgments, and it's going to apply greater Judgment. The next 30,000 damage dealt will be prevented. So it's like a little 30k heal. All right. And then it also heals a little bit using Truth Prevails. So that's kind of neat on there as well. That is just the general healing playstyle. You're going to Holy Shock on cooldown, use your Eternal Flames to spend your Holy Power, and then you hard cast when you have the infusion procs. Sometimes you may need to cast it more if you're just really dying, but that's the general gist of it. Make sure you are using Holy Prism or Barrier of Faith on cooldown, especially if you're playing Herald, because every time you press it, it's going to give you that Divine Favor, or it's going to give you a Divine Purpose and Divine Favor if you're playing Divine Favor. So when you press this here, your next Holy Light or Flashlight will be empowered, reduce cast time, and mana cost reduced. So it's like an ultimate heal. If you combine that with like an infusion proc, of course I'm not going to get an infusion proc here. Okay, I got an infusion proc, and I have Divine Favor of, this heal is going to be massive. That was a 922k heal. Okay, that's when you're going to get the biggest chunky heals, is when you combine both of those. So that's a go-to there. Just a note on the healing is reminder of this Light of the Martyr. I know a lot of people run it here. So when you are Holy Shocking and doing damage, you're going to see yourself get kind of chunked pretty hard here, and it will not go up. I don't think it stops at 70, right? Or does it keep going past 70? No, right? I don't have percentages on. But anyway, you take damage from it. Okay, you have empowered holy lights or holy shocks, but because of that, you're going to be taking damage, and that damage cannot be healed via beacon. So just note that. I wouldn't really worry about that too much unless your health just starts creeping low. But it is nice to have because you are doing way more healing off of it. If that is stressing you out about that, just take the points away and put them in something else. I mean, you can put them in shorter ore mastery. You can take. Oh wait, hold on, I've never seen this. Reduce the cost of your next... Dude, why have I never seen this talent? Frick, man, I gotta change my build. Wog or Light of Dawn have a chance equal to your haste to reduce the cost of your next Holy Light Crusader Circuit Judgment by 6,000. I guess that's not that much. Whatever, we're gonna try it. Okay, I don't know if that's good or not. We're gonna find out, though. And then you could change the other one for... I guess it would either be the Righteous Judgment... You don't use Breaking Dawn, Overflowing Light, I guess, or if you're playing Denounce, you can play Shining Righteousness. So if that's not up your alley, you can try one of those out. Here, I'll try some of these out for the time being. But yes, that's what we got going on the gameplay side of the healing. Okay, when it comes to the damage part, yes, you can certainly play in all the time. It will be a lot harder if you're doing that, just to micromanage everything, just kind of seeing things going on. But if you are playing in without melee wings up, you're going to notice you're going to run out of buttons to press. Okay, melee wings reduces the cooldown of your Judgment and your Crusader Strike and gives you 2 charges of Crusader Strike. During that window, do not worry about overcapping your holy power. Generally, you don't want to overcap on it. But that window, you can get so many Judgments and Crusader Strikes out, it'll actually end up being more healing than you need. And it's going to give you a lot of damage output as well. And you don't have to worry about like casting at all or anything like that, right? So when it comes to those windows, you're going to be just pressing that melee wings, Judgment, Crusader Strike, Crusader Strike. Well, I had Judgment back up there. I threw in Empowered Holy Shock, but throwing more in there. So like at this point, I ran out. If I run out, then I'm going to press Hammer of Wrath, and then just go back to pressing everything else again. If you run out of buttons to press, that's when you press Holy Shock. That's when you can press Wog or Eternal Flame. And yeah, just rinse and repeat. Just spamming those 2 buttons are the most important ones to just keep going. Those Crusader Strikes. Crusader Strike does a ton of damage and a ton of healing, you know, for what's going on there. And again, you can also cast those while silenced against DKs and stuff like that. You can press Avenging Wrath before the silence hits. So like if DK grips me in, I actually try to like preemptively use a Avenging Crusader like in the air. And then once that blind breaks, yeah, you lose a couple seconds of it. But once that blind breaks, you can actually heal through the silence pretty dang well. Because you could just Judgment and Crusader Strike your way through it, which is really cool to actually have. Just a little neat tip there for DKs. Other than that, that's kind of the rotation of that. You can actually, you know, like I said, you can stay in doing damage the whole time, weaving in, you know, throw some Holy Shocks on your team, throw some Wogs out on your team, whatever it is, but you don't have to. So you could retreat back to your pillar. My tip is if you are playing heavy caster comps, so like in a solo shuffle lobby I was in, it was 3 casters and a melee, or if it's 4 casters, do not play in the whole time. Go in for your melee wings and then pop back out, sit behind the pillar, avoid your CC. Okay? And then when you have your wings, you go back in and whatnot. All right. I'm realizing how annoying this Light of the Martyr is. Wait, am I still taking damage? What the heck am I taking damage from? I'm actually not taking damage from Light of the Martyr. What is attacking me? I honestly do not know. Like if I just heal this target, I take damage. Oh, the redistribution beacon. Oh, that's what's doing that? Oh. I didn't know that. Oh, because they're low health. That's why it's doing that. All right. Never mind. So anyway, getting back to the gameplay here. I mean, that's really it. In terms of cooldown usage, make sure you are using Divine Toll fairly frequently. It's amazing heal, gives you the full holy power, and it also creates or allows you to do big holy shocks after that. And then we have your Holy Prisms on cooldown, Avenging Crusader when you need it there for a wings damage, sack that you can use when teammates are taking a lot of damage, or you can use this to avoid CC. If you sack a target right before someone casts a polymorph or a fear, that CC could break on you, and just because you're going to be splitting the damage between the 2 of you. Lay on Hands, obviously you have Bop. Don't forget you have Forbearance if you're ever playing with another Paladin on your team. Can't overlap those. And then don't forget Searing Glare. So Searing Glare, again, you can stay back here, you can glare things. I don't think it works on these dummies, but it's gonna immune stuff and everything from it. It's only a 25-yard range cone, but using that on you can immune CCs if someone's in the midst of casting something on you. You can use it on the melee when they pop their big cooldowns just to prevent stuff. It's almost like a heal. So it's essentially a heal for that. And then yeah, that's about it, man. Hopefully I got everything. I'm kind of rambling at this point, I think. But if you guys have any questions further, let me know down below. So we're gonna finish off here with just some gameplay. So I have a 3v3 game that I played yesterday that I'm gonna show you guys. So this was a game where I am versing double caster. We actually just reversed this team prior to this game, and we got our butts whooped because I was kind of just stuck in the open and lost in Neverland. I don't know what you want to call it. So I ended up just our strategy of this game was just gonna play aggressive as possible. I pushed in for a Hodge. We're gonna be going for repentance, make sure we're out of line to not get kicked. Okay, at this point here, we're gonna throw in some judgments, hanging out. I'm not gonna push in completely here, so this is gonna be a nice balance here. You're gonna say, I think this is a better way to play that. You could certainly play in all the time. I should have used this Blessing of Summer already, but I didn't. But not big of a deal. So, okay, you're gonna push in with that melee or Avenging Crusader. I dispelled, unfortunately, lost my thing, but I want to push in here. Just hit whatever you can. Your Avenging Crusader will heal anything within 40 yards. So I'm trying to do as much damage as I can. I kind of get screwed over on this one. I was trying to do damage. I really kind of couldn't. So this was a pretty not good Avenging Crusader. But I'm just kind of playing very cautiously because of the comp that we're versing. I don't want to be stuck in there too long. This is the Warlock's cooldowns. He gets his soul right out. So I'm just trying to communicating to my team that we're taking big dam. Just throwing some heals. Throwing out a Searing Glare to stop the damage here. I don't know if I hit anybody. Actually hit all three of them there, which was kind of cool. And just, you know, hide behind pillars when you need to, especially take advantage of these infusion procs. Reminder, again, if you use Flash Shield with it, it costs very little mana, but Holy Light will heal a lot more. All right, we push in there. I got a nice rep on the healer there. Again, just playing kind of middle, in and out, using it. Make sure I'm always, if I'm playing in, I'm trying to stick by a pillar as much as I can. Okay, dispel there, get another Wog out there, doing a little bit of damage while I'm in. He does have fear, so kind of a sucky port to fear. Though again, that was another bad Revenge Crusader. I was playing in and I pressed it and immediately got feared. But using this to try to catch back up here, horse back in there, get those Crusader strikes out, holy shocks, kind of forced to push out again. I don't think I got any Crusader stuff in there. Not really good ones here. This was just a tough matchup, man. This build, if you can flex between the builds, man, the melee build is really hard into double caster. So just know that. Don't feel bad if you're struggling with it. Okay, we're getting low here. I'm gonna end up popping a divine shield. Throw out glares. Reps and glares are really good to cast while you're in divine shield. Reminder of that, because you can't be stopped. All right, and continue just throwing out the holy shocks, throwing out the wogs, sitting behind the pillar, waiting for my next wings to come out. So I got it in about 3 seconds. Just playing safe, trying to top up some heals. I got a wings proc on this next one. You can see your judgment glows up. Okay, so I'm gonna try to push in here with that, and then come up here through some Crusader strikes, hopefully. Yep, throws those Crusader strikes. Throw more judgments out there, spamming all that damn as much as I can. Try to cast a repentance there. We overlap it with the fear, but I think it ended up being enough. Damn, if we didn't overlap that game would have ended probably right there. But we did get fear on that again. Yeah, just playing safe as much as I can on this. No need to push in unless we're trying to kill. I'm trying to push in here to kill because I know we're on a timer here to lose. We're losing on mana. Another Searing Glare. Again, do not forget that ability. So you can go do it on a priest running in for a fear. Doing more damage onto him. He walls. Kind of sucky situation here, but really low on mana. Throwing out more heals. Dispelling where I can. I'm glared right now. Gonna push in, make sure I kill that Siphene. I couldn't click it in time. I think he ends up killing it though. Push behind the Imperial, just about to die. Holy shocking. Get the Divine Purpose there. Spamming these heals as much as I can, man. I dispel it really risky. I end up Iron Stone forming the rest of the dots off there. Oh my gosh, that was so difficult there. And then we end up securing the victory. But this was not easy. I want to show you this one because this is hard, okay? Your healing is going to feel a lot more comfortable when you're versing melee, but against those casters, make sure you are weaving to your best ability and take advantage of those repentances, okay? You need to play aggressive with CC against those casters, with Hodges, all that kind of jazz. All right, so that's it for this. I need to end this video. This video has been way too long at this point, but hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.